What's up, guys? Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff Sintel, DogNation.com. Gather in, folks. We got another Before the Hedges here on Wednesday night, coming from the tranquil and quaint Sintel family home living room. Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday night. Hope you guys are watching Before the Hedges. If we've got any first timers out there, thank you very much. Can't tell you how much we all appreciate you guys hanging out every Wednesday night. Shout out to all you first commenters. Shout out to all you top fans on Facebook. Shout out to everybody that has been to Kroger and got some groceries today and now can say that they're joining Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. Of course, Before the Hedges will become a podcast on the Apple Podcast platform. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on SoundCloud. You can find it on the Apple Podcast platform. You can find it on Spotify, all that cool stuff. But tonight we're talking a lot of things, and I guess I got to start off. I mean, there's a tendency. Let me go ahead talk about. I don't even like addressing things that are out there in the world that I just consider to be really sensational or just kind of really off base. I think that the name of the hour, the name of the month, the name everybody's on everybody's mind for Georgia right now in recruiting. And the recruiting spear is often going to be Arch Manning. As much as a guy like me tries to write about guys like Jonell Aguero, Victor Burley, Caleb Downs, Brandon Ennis, Justice Haynes. We got a story up tonight about Tamarian Parker. We wrote about some of the other 2022 signees this week. But the report out there, I think that, that Arch Manning was down to 2 schools, definitely not true. I think it's been some of the stories coming out today from 24/7 Sports and other outlets have basically ran counter to, I guess, the weekend or the late last week headlines that said Arch Manning was down to Alabama and Texas and Texas only. Not to be the case at all. I do feel that Georgia is right in the thick of things there with Arch Manning, and I think Georgia and Arch Manning are going to go quite a long way in terms of going the distance in terms of his recruitment. Be very interesting to see what happens with Georgia in quarterback in the 2023 class, because I think it does affect Georgia in the 2024 class as well. But that having been said, I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. If you got a question, Facebook or YouTube as well, feel free to drop them in there, and I'll try to play Johnny on the spot. Trying to cater to a lot of your questions. Hope everybody has had their national championship merch delivered by now. I'm talking to a few folks that tell me they've still waited on some things from their favorite national championship natty merchandise supplier. Speaking of, I think we've got 2 interviews today that we always try to make sure we come with some juice, something very interesting for everyone in the first half of our show, like the first A block of our show, first quarter of our show. We'd like to start fast. We've got 2 very good interviews. Everybody's like, all right, Jeff, who are the interviews? Well, one of them is from the 2023 class. That's Reuben Owens II. If you guys want to hear from him, some of the quotes that appeared in a recent Dog Nation story, they're there. Some other things that did not appear in a recent Dog Nation story are there. Got some pictures in the interview package as well from his recent UGA visit. That's kind of what we're going to have. That's our second interview we're going to show you. First interview, I think it's fantastic. I think it is a great picture and a great insight into Marvin Jones Jr. I got to speak to him one-on-one out in Texas for the All-American Bowl. The brightest of futures for that young man. We've got a video portion of our coverage tonight. We will have a full-blown story on Marvin Jones Jr. coming in the next couple of days on DogNation.com. I know you guys will be very interested in that. Marvin is a terrific young man, fun dude. Fun family as well. And some of the stories around his recruitment are going to be pretty fun to tell. If you guys don't know who Marvin Jones is, you only know him as the 5-star edge rusher, the son of former Florida State All-American linebacker Marvin Jones. Sit back, enjoy your favorite beverage here on a Wednesday night. And Before the Hedges special right now is Dog Nation Conversation with 5-star edge Marvin Jones Jr. He is a 2022 signee that will show up in late May or June in Athens. Enjoy. All right, Dog Nation. I've got Chef John here with Kroger. What we're trying to do
as we're trying to take
what does
that
it feel to be a
tailgate
Bulldog, man? Is this
national
week just
championship standards.
reinforce
Chef
you
John,
got the right
got
choice, baby?
Three-star wing
You know,
recipe.
hanging out with my brothers.
How do
really,
we take it to the next
the rest
level?
of my Bulldogs.
Jeff, you've heard of
Been a
buffalo
good
wings,
experience,
you've heard of
and everybody's
barbecue
a little
wings.
better,
We're gonna.
so can't wait.
What does it mean?
About anything but competing, really. So definitely, you know, a lot of weight off my shoulders.
So I got to get your reaction to this one on camera. You know, I'm writing a big, huge Marvin Jones story, stuff that nobody's read about you yet, because you just creeped into the class really late.
Yeah.
When you saw the karaoke video about, you know who I'm talking about, on your official, somebody at Georgia did karaoke that rarely ever does karaoke.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when you saw that?
I thought, you know, it's kind of annoying at first, like, you know, I was gonna sit down, but I mean, watching the video, I see my uncle get him to sing. I heard he never sang before, so I mean, I guess it's cool. He brought that out. It was smart, so it's cool to see.
Did you know you were going by then, or did that just float that boat on down the river a little bit?
Nah, I think, you know, I didn't completely, you know, make my mind until I got home, really. But, you know, that was definitely a cool thing to see, you know. Everything's really a big family, so.
Marvin, I'm going to rapid fire with these really quickly. There's 7 Georgia guys here. There might be 8 eventually. I'm going to roll off all the names. I'm going to help you out with them and tell me what you think of each of the guys, because I'm going to do a story about what all of you guys think about each other. We're going to call him Blanket. We're going to call him Julian Island. I mean, this guy is like, he never stops, right?
He's a clown. CLOW.
On the field, was he like?
Nah, he's, you know, he does what he does. He's fast, long, tall. He covers, that's what he does. So definitely going to be cool playing with him.
Michael.
Oh, he's a dog. Y'all can see from the videos. He got alpha dog back to back. He's someone I can't wait to work with. You know, I think he does a lot of stuff better than me. You know, having him on my side really, I think, is going to elevate my game. I think it'll elevate his. I think I do some stuff, you know, he doesn't do. He does a lot of stuff I don't do. So I think us being able to learn from each other is going to make us really great players.
The thought of you side by side and then choosing who to double, does that get your mouth watering?
You can't do it. You can't double both of us. So we'll see how these next 3 years go.
Oscar Dell.
Oh, he's my guy. Really, Doug. I mess with Doug. You know, I met him this weekend. He's cool. You know, he's laid back. He's the type of guy I can kick it with.
Gunnar Stockton, QB1. What do you think of him?
He's like a dad. Gunner's, you know, he looks over all of us. You know, Gunnar, he's really cool. He's very quiet, but you know, he throws the ball well. That's what you want from a quarterback.
We also got to talk about Griffin Scroggs. The guy looks like a big grizzly bear.
Yeah. He looks, you know, he looks how he acts. He's a cool, you know, big laid back dude. He's chill. Somebody you can definitely kick it with, and you know, he gets along with everybody well.
How many times did you change your mind over the course of your decision?
Sure.
If you sit there and you said, heart of hearts, I'm going that school, how many times did that change?
To be honest, probably like 8.
8. So who were the schools? Even from day one all the way?
Day one, like my sophomore year, it was Florida State at first, and then Miami ended up offering me before Florida State. So that kind of, you know, pushed me away a little bit. I ended up coming back to Florida State. Then it was probably Clemson before they offered me, and then Oklahoma, and I went to Alabama, and then it was Alabama for a little while. I went to Georgia, and then it was probably back to Florida State after Georgia. And then my last visit, I think, kind of sealed it with Georgia. So.
Wow. Marvin Jones, man, thanks for the time. You're rocking that towel. That's Cam Newton look, right?
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Definitely.
All right, guys, that's Marvin Jones Jr. What a great interview that guy was, right? I mean, first of all, that deep bass in his voice sounds like he needs to be on an R&B hit. And then, like, man, size of this kid, the work ethic, what he brings to the table, that synergy of him and Michael Williams is going to be fascinating. Like you said, can't double both of us. There's no way you can double both of us. And I think there's going to let a lot of dogs turn loose in the years to come off this pass rush, specifically with the 2022 signing class. Big Bear Alexander, Christian Miller, Shone Washington, Michael Williams, and Marvin Jones Jr. Throw in Darius Smith as well. I don't think Georgia, CJ Madden, can't forget that guy. Another guy coming off shoulder surgery right now in Athens. But, man, look at all that. That is a tantalizing front. Instant pass rush, kind of like those old ramen noodles you would get at on the Kroger aisles as well. Very brilliant future. I tell you guys, I think of Marvin Jones. I think he's a first-round draft pick walking. And I just don't think – I think probably a top 10, top 12 pick walking. I mean, he's going to bring everything to the table, football DNA, brains, work ethic. Going to get coached up by Coach Chidera as well, the new outside linebackers coach as well. Be very, very cool to watch that guy kind of grow and evolve in tandem with all those other great freshmen defensive line and front seven guys in Athens. That's a 5-star from the 2022 class. How would you like to hear from a 5-star from the 2023 class? This wouldn't be I wouldn't be covering a program known as RBU if I wasn't talking about a running back in the 2023 class, a 5-star. You guys want to know what Reuben Owens the second thinks about the Georgia Bulldogs, thinks about NIL, thinks about his recent trip to Georgia? What does he think about his top 5 schools? Coming at you right now here on Before the Hedges.
Georgia, it was a great visit, you know. They showed me great hospitality. You know, Coach Smart, I talked to him one-on-one. I like to think he was fair.
What were the things he wanted to impress upon you?
He was just telling me how he's going to use me, be able to use me out the backfield because I can catch the ball too. How he's going to get the ball to me and all that. So, yeah, and how the deals and stuff work, NIL and stuff. How it's not all about that. It's about, you know, when you go at Georgia, you got a chance to make it to the next level, so don't try to rush you into it and all that.
How does that show up on your radar? Are you looking for NIL deals? I've had some people tell me that I want to make $20 million in 3 years rather than $100,000 in 1 year. Is that something that sticks to you? What do you think about all that?
The NIL thing, yeah, it's kind of like, what young kid wouldn't want to get big money? But like, it's not all about that.
Was it fun for you, Reuben? These visits are supposed to be fun. What was the best, maybe the most fun part of the visit for you?
Just hanging around the other players, you know, in my class, and just having fun.
What was the message from Coach McGee?
Coach McGee, he basically saying how he's going to get me better, and like how he put other running backs in the lead and stuff like that. Coach McGee's a real cool guy. You know, he's pretty nice. So yeah.
Is there something about his approach that's maybe different from everybody else that's why he's able to sign so many great backs like yourself? Do you notice things about him where he does it differently than other guys?
He tell you how you're going to get better. He don't just tell you how great you are. Other coaches, they'll tell you how bad they want you, how great you are. He'll tell you what things you need to get better.
What's your timeline look for? Do you see yourself maybe making a decision this time next year, or are you going to enroll early? What is your timeline? What do you think it is right now?
Yeah, I'm enrolled early in school, so you know, I'm really looking for a family. Georgia, they're family, so yeah, I'm just out here. I'm probably I don't know when I'm gonna make a decision though. It could be soon though.
It's gonna be soon, you think?
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna take all 5 of your officials in the spring and then make it, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna take my officials first.
So you can get that done in April and May, and then maybe make a decision over the summer. Does that feel out of the ordinary? That could be your timeline?
Yes, sir.
You know, the main thing that you're looking for is, you know, to have fun, and maybe what's the biggest, you know, check boxes for Georgia? What's the biggest check boxes that they check off for you?
Biggest check box. Just how Georgia, you know, like that's a big school, a big SEC school, and like they for sure, like Georgia is the type of school that can for sure get you to the next level.
Did you try on all the different colors of uniforms, or did you just settle on a certain one?
I just stayed on the red.
Which one did you have?
I had on the red and red with the gray pants.
The traditional one, huh?
Yes, sir.
What do you feel like putting that one on? Did you put it on before on another visit, or was that your first time?
No, the other visit I had on the black and gray.
You like the red and gray the best, though?
Yes, sir.
And then for you, did you like what? I think I've read so you still have 5 schools though, right? You have what are the approaches for all those schools? If you could just basically give me
the thing that really sticks out to you about each, that would be great. Let's start with maybe Alabama.
Alabama, they're a powerhouse. Coach Saban, he's a real nice guy. He's straightforward with you. He also tells you how you can get better too. And Alabama, you're gonna be going against the best of the best every day.
How about USC? That was the school. Sticks out with Riley now, I bet.
Yeah, Coach Riley. He's doing me since my freshman year since he was at OU. So just him going to USC making me put USC in a picture.
How about Texas? That was the school you were once committed to.
Yeah, Texas. Same thing with them. They've been with me since my freshman year. Texas, I'm a Texas kid, so Texas recruited me pretty hard at a young age. So I'm sticking with them because Texas is. And I also like Austin very much.
Man, I guess the fifth one would be A&M. How do you feel about A&M and what they've done? They've recruited pretty well over the last year.
Yeah, they got a real big class. So Texas A&M, they've been recruiting me since my freshman year too. And A&M is just College Station. It's a vibe, bro. So I just been vibing with them. Coach Tommy Robinson, Coach Jimbo, they just some real nice guys. So yeah.
What's up, guys? How'd you think about that? Reuben Owens II talked about a lot of things, talked about his top 5 schools, talked about Georgia. I thought it was very interesting how he said he's looking for a family, and he's already realized that the Georgia Bulldogs football program and his recruiting effort that's kind of been led by Georgia's ace recruiter, Del McGee, certainly feels like a family, resembles a family to him as well. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday night so far. I mean, I'm feeling good. How's everybody feeling good? Quick programming note. Next week, we will not have a Before the Hedges because this guy right here is going to be on a boat. We're going to be vacating. We're going to be on vacation next week. I hope you guys – so tell the lovely ones in your life, your significant others, that you got a free Wednesday night next Wednesday because there will be no Before the Hedges. They will be on the vacation next week here, brought to you by DogNation.com and brought to you by Kroger as well. Speaking of Kroger, it's commercial time. Anybody wants to see some more of those natty championship hot wings, that recipe from Chef John and myself, check it out right here.
All right, Dog Nation, I've got Chef John here with Kroger. What we're trying to do is we're trying to take that tailgate to national championship standards. Chef John, we got some 3-star wing recipes. How do we take it to the next level?
Jeff, you've heard of buffalo wings, you've heard of barbecue wings. We're gonna take these to the next level. What we're gonna do is an orange garlic glazed wing.
All right, John, now normally my friends do not allow the color orange at the tailgate. Trusting you, man.
You're gonna love these. We're gonna get grilling right now. This is a garlic orange glazed wing. Made in marinade last night. It's with orange juice, brown sugar, garlic, salt and pepper, a little bit of butter, and some hot sauce. Absolutely fantastic. So I didn't bring my own container in the marinade. I brought it in a Ziploc bag. Why? So I don't have to worry about washing, but also it's quick and easy to dispose of it and nice and clean and sanitary. Wings hot off the grill.
All right, guys, been hearing some good intel about this one. You know what, dog fans? This is the type of orange you want at your tailgate. Dog Nation, you just got a 5-star upgrade to your tailgate menu. Check out DogNation.com all season long for tailgate tips and recipes, brought to you by Kroger.
I guess that's Chef John and Chef Jeff. Hope everybody's had themselves a good evening meal as well. We're going to roll on here with Before the Hedges. Let me see. Lots of stuff to get to this week. I think I've seen some questions in the feeds already on Facebook, also on YouTube. People are asking about the 2023 class. People are asking me about receivers. I'm going to tell you, folks, there is a new receiver name I've kind of added to the board to kind of pay attention to in the 2023 cycle, aside from 5-star wide receiver Brandon Ennis. Let's take a look at that right now. We're expanding the globe here a little bit. We're going to go top 15 now on our top targets. And reminder, folks, PSA here, top targets are basically the guys that I think have an interest in Georgia. Georgia has an interest in him. And I guess the matchmaking or the process of courting is certainly happening now, called recruiting, between a lot of these guys. It is no certainty that these guys will end up at Georgia, but I just don't list the top 15 guys, highest rated guys with offers. There's a little bit of a science to it. There's a little bit of is the position needy for 2023. What type of ability can he bring to the table? Could he play right away? How impactful would he be? That's what makes up the disclaimer for all things top targets. This week's top targets, we see a familiar name at number 15, Trayon Webb. Trayon sent out a tweet recently that he's gonna go to his top 5 schools. He's going to have 5 schools there and take his official visits in the spring, and he will commit before his senior year. He will likely commit sometime in the summer as well. You hear a lot of South Carolina interest from him. Georgia's always in the mix there as well. What are the other schools going to be that become his final 5? Be very interesting to see. Will he consider Oklahoma again, a school he was once interested in? Will he consider USC? That was the guy he was committed to, and Lincoln Riley. Very intriguing. And Trayon's a guy actually got his offer when Todd Hartley was at Miami many, many moons ago. He got his offer when he was in the spring of his 7th grade year, before his 8th grade year. Funny story, quick story about Trayon Webb is that there's a running back now that was committed to Miami at the time that I think just now exhausted his eligibility at Ohio State. And there's a rule in Florida high school football: when you're on a K through 12 campus, 7th graders can practice with the varsity. There was a situation where everybody was hurt, everybody had turf toe, and so they handed the ball to Trayon Webb as a 7th grader. And recruiter extraordinaire Todd Hartley got to see Trayon Webb ripping and running and breaking big gains as a rising 8th grader, and he got the offer from the Miami Hurricanes at that time. Number 14, we just wrote about him today. Tamarion Parker, guy wants to be a sports journalist one day, wants to be a sports broadcaster. Number 91 overall player in the country. He's got a top 5, actually got a top 6 right now. He's got a +1. His top 5 goes Penn State, Ohio State, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia. His +1 is Clemson. He would expand his top group to 6 schools if he gets the Clemson offer. Currently does not have the Clemson offer. You guys want to know why Tennessee is in there? That's because he grew up in Knoxville, strong military family, really nice dude to chat with, a good cook. His go-to meal, if he was making something, he said, for Halle Berry's daughter, is he said he would make a homemade fried chicken sandwich with some French fries. And he said it would be chef's kiss. It would be great, kind of like Chef John would cook up right there. Tamarion Parker. 13 is another Alabama defensive end. There are a lot of players in Alabama this year, probably the best year state of Alabama has ever had. They've got 3 5-stars, Peter Woods out of Thompson High School, A.J. Harris, Tony Mitchell. Number 12 on the list is Caden McDonald. Caden McDonald just did, there was a tweet about that this morning. He did two reps with 5:45. Caden had 20 sacks as a zero-tech nose guard for 7A North Gwinnett as a junior. He had 62 tackles for loss. That is a new North Gwinnett High School state record. A North Gwinnett High School record, not state record. Let's get that clear. Pardon me on that one. And he also had tied a team record for 20 sacks in one season. Love this about Caden McDonald. Okay, listen to this. He had 7 sacks in one game, in a playoff game, as a zero-tech nose guard. Very hard to do. It's kind of like Freddie Freeman hitting a 600-foot home run in baseball. And then the next week, he caught a flare pass out of the backfield as an H-back, fullback type, and he caught a touchdown pass in the next week of the Georgia high school playoffs. Folks, I can't say this definitively, but I don't think there's ever in the history of high school football been a young man that played defensive line and he got 7 sacks in one high school playoff game, and then the following week caught a touchdown pass. Not sure that has ever happened. If it's probably never happened in the state of Georgia, highly unlikely unless we're talking about some 8-man football or some private school football in a really small school. What a phenomenal feat there. Caden McDonald really likes Georgia as well. A lot of schools, Caden McDonald has kind of maintained Georgia as is probably the school to beat for quite some time. Cormani McClain, that's the number 1 cornerback in the country. He had a recent impactful visit to UGA. The new name from the wide receiver board this week would be Braylon James out of Del Valle in Texas. believe he's the number 71 overall prospect, the nation's number 11 wide receiver, about 6'2" and some change, about 180 pounds, out of Texas. Number 9 is another wide receiver, Brandon Ennis, out of American Heritage in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Number 8, new name to the list, is 4-star linebacker Troy Bowles out of Jesuit High in Tampa, Florida. And yes, that is the son of the NFL coach as well. Just heard from him. Number 7, Reuben Owens II. They call him Four So Crazy. They call him the Black Unicorn. He had a phenomenal high school season, 2,900 yards, I think 12.9 yards per carry, 45 touchdowns. He's got, 29 touchdowns. He has 45 touchdowns and something like 4,500 yards over his past 2 high school seasons. Number 6, speaking of a lot of yards and touchdowns, the Georgia legacy, Justice Haynes, is number 6. Number 5, 5-star edge, Malik Bryant. I think he's the number 2 edge in the country. Number 4 is 5-star safety man, Jonell Aguero, Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, Florida. Those are the schools that are really working hard for Jonell Aguero. He has been a long time major top target for Georgia in the 2023 class. Moving up a notch is 5-star quarterback Arch Manning out of Isidore Newman in New Orleans, Louisiana. Number 2, 5-star defensive lineman out of Warner Robins, Vic Burley. That's a guy, the more you talk to him, more you hear from him, he was a guy that did not want to rush his decision, but it sounds like he's comfortable if he feels right, where he can make his decision before his senior football season. Number 1, the number 1 player in Georgia after the reclassification of LT Overton to the 2022 class, that is 5-star safety man Caleb Downs, the number 1 safety in the country for 2023. Other names to consider, let's kind of roll through them. Middle Georgia linebacker C.J. Allen just picked up an offer from Florida. Justin Benton, the Georgia legacy. I had a question. I saw a question early in our show about Justin Benton. I don't know if you had to press me on that. I think Justin Benton is a guy that probably needs to be in the Georgia class. Would certainly be a welcome and wonderful addition. Of course, Justin Benton is another Georgia legacy as well. 4-star wide receiver Santana Fleming, also out of American Heritage High School. Jamal Jarrett, that's the athletic big man. Got Jordan Davis size out of North Carolina. Xavier Hardy out of Middle Georgia. Gabe Harris out of South Georgia. Thomas County Central. New name to the list, another wide receiver, Kyler Casper out of Arizona. Recently dropped his top 10 schools, and Georgia made his top 10. Casper, about 6'5", lots of receiver skill, kind of explosive ability as well. 4-star offensive tackle Peyton Kirkland, that's another name. He was also in town and kind of buddied up with Reuben Owens II on their recent Georgia unofficial visit. Another wide receiver, 4-star Caden Lee. 5-star offensive lineman Francis Margoa. Xavier McLeod out of Camden High School in Camden, South Carolina. 5-star cornerback. I think he's probably a star or a nickel safety in college. Tony Mitchell, another 5-star out of Alabama. 5-star offensive tackle Caden Proctor. Now, he's out of Iowa. 5-star nation's number 1 offensive tackle. Recently dropped to top 7, and the Bulldogs made his top 7. 5-star tight end Deuce Robinson. That's the number 1 tight end in the country. 4-star edge, another kid out of Alabama, Quay Rousseau. 4-star offensive lineman Madden Sanker just won a recent state championship for South Paulding in Douglasville. You got James Smith, another 5-star defensive lineman out of Montgomery, Alabama. He was at IMG Academy for a time last year, but then bobbed back to his local community. 5-star defensive lineman Jaden Wayne out of Washington. And the final name on the list is 4-star wide receiver Hakeem Williams. A lot of guys, a lot of schools, a lot of big-time schools are after Hakeem Williams, one of those kind of like George Pickens type skill set receivers in the 2023 class. The most important restock positions are offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back, and outside linebacker. Got edge guys, need running backs. I think Georgia gets at least 2. Georgia needs to get those playmakers at wide receiver, and this is the year where they go back into the land, I feel, of the 5-star and the All-American offensive tackles. Breakdown for the 2023 class. We'd like to give you a quick snapshot here. Some bad news since one of our last shows. Georgia and its 9 commits have now dropped to number 2 in the country. Notre Dame has overtaken the top spot as a number 1 team in the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the country right now. Georgia's recruiting class looks like 6 offense and 3 defense. One of the things I want you to think about right now is I see, this is just such an early phase for this recruiting class. I don't expect all the names that are currently committed to Georgia to remain in this class. I could see a situation where maybe 2 or 3 names in this recruiting class do not wind up with the Bulldogs on signing day. Always happens, especially the way and the level that Georgia recruits. Keep in mind last year, fun fact, Georgia, this class of 30 guys, I believe, in the 2022 signing class includes 12 guys who were once committed to another school, 12 decommitments from another program eventually signed with Georgia. If you want to count Big Bear Alexander's decommitments, then there are 13 guys that were decommitted from an original school only to eventually sign with the Georgia Bulldogs. Kind of par for the course in the portal era, I would say. 5 guys in state, 4 guys out of state. Nobody in the top 50 as of yet. 5 top 100 guys, 6 top 150 guys. Georgia's right now, if I can break down their class, they have 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers. That's 4. They have 1 defensive lineman in Seven Cloud. They have 2 cornerbacks in Marcus Washington Jr. and Kyan Lee. That is what the recruiting class looks like so far at this time for Georgia in the class of 2023. 2 corners, 1 defensive lineman, and 6 guys on offense. There are 4 offensive players among Georgia's 5 highest rated commitments. I'm sure that's a trend that everybody would welcome and applaud. New feature I want to show you guys right now. I thought it was very interesting. If you guys want to know what Georgia's recruiting class is going to look like and what positions look like the clear priorities, guys, you got to offer what Georgia's kind of targeting early in the class. Georgia has offered 11 QBs. I think they only take 1. Georgia has offered 7 running backs, just 7 running backs. I think they take 2. 32 wide receivers have been offered, and that's just what Georgia does. They traditionally offer a lot of wide receivers. Keep going on down the line. You've got 6 tight ends, 14 interior offensive linemen. The interior offensive lineman now is a center or guard type. 18 offensive tackles, 35 defensive linemen. Now, those are strictly defensive tackles, nose guards, interior defensive linemen. The 24/7 Sports composite, 24/7 Sports, which I think does a very good job of rating and classifying and sorting all these players in their offers. They now make it linebackers and edge guys. Edge guys are the guys like Darius Smith, the guys like Marvin Jones Jr. Georgia has only offered 11 guys in that class. They've only offered 11 linebackers. They've offered 20 cornerbacks, 13 safeties, and 10 athletes. That's what it kind of looks like right now in terms of a snapshot of where the offers are going out for the 2023 recruiting class. Guys, you got any questions? Happy to facilitate a lot of those questions. I'm going to take a minute and take a lap around Facebook first, and then I'll take a lap around YouTube as well. Billy Hurley, man, thanks for watching. Sonia Prescott makes a very cool point about overuse and usage rate of backs in college. Eric Patton has a question here. I think my feed's a little bit behind. Tom Lavelle, thank you for watching. Eric Patton, I think the 24/7 composite reflects 93% crystal ball rating for Reuben Owens II because he was at one time committed to Texas, and a lot of those guys haven't changed their crystal balls yet. Brian Marcoulier has a question. Brian, I hope you're doing good tonight, sir. He says, Matt Luke coached when Eli Manning was at Ole Miss. Do I think that will play a part in Arch's recruitment? I think it's just a family connection there with Arch's recruitment. I mean, the Mannings were always kind of been the first family of Ole Miss football. And when Eli was playing, when Eli was there, Matt Lucas was the head coach at Ole Miss for the last several seasons before Lane Kiffin. So obviously those families got to know each other really well. an easy kinship, I'll say, with Matt Luke and the Manning family once he moved over to Georgia. I think a lot of the questions, this is a question I get a lot, kind of dovetailing off your question, Brian. Question I get a lot is basically, how good is Arch Manning? Like if his last name was Jones, if his name was Arch Jones, would he still be the number one player in the country? I don't know if he'd be the number one player in the country, to be honest. I don't know if he would. I don't know if he would be. I think he would still be a 5-star quarterback. I think he would be one of the top guys in the country, maybe the 1, 2, 3, or 4 quarterback in the country. Though the guys that are always at the top of the heap in every recruiting cycle are always so stinking good. But I think he's as advertised. I think he has a lot of great qualities. I think one of the things folks maybe they quickly hear the last name Manning and they think Archie's going to be a lot like Eli or a lot like Peyton, when in reality that's not the case. Arch is really like his grandfather, Archie. He's improvisational. He throws on the run. He's a great athlete. Not as tall as his uncle Peyton. I think Peyton was about 6'5" or so. I think Arch is probably 6'3" and some change, maybe stretches out to 6'4". One of the things you'll notice is he plays for a private school in New Orleans, and the talent there is what it is. I don't think he's had some. I think he's got a tight end good enough to get an Alabama offer. He at one time during his sophomore and freshman years had a wide receiver that had a bunch of SEC offers. But one of the things I would, he's forced to play at a level where he's having to make a lot of plays and, kind of try to play above his head to try and win games for his high school. One of the things I think that is definitely maybe not a clear indicator of what he is I think he's thrown about 20 interceptions in high school football so far. And that doesn't seem very Manning-like as well. I mean, think about Gunnar Stockton's year this year. I think Gunnar Stockton threw 52 touchdown passes in Class 2A football in Georgia against 1 interception. But I think that's maybe a contrast in levels a little bit as well. But Arch Manning, certainly a great player, certainly a great talent. Do I think he'd be the number one quarterback in the country without the built-in kind of marketing ability of his last name? I think that is a subject for debate. I think he'd be a 5-star. I think he'd be one of the top quarterbacks in the country. But he doesn't have, to me, some of those skill sets like a Trevor Lawrence has, or a Matthew Stafford, a name that's quickly comes to everybody's mind this week as well, with the success they had today in the parade and also the Super Bowl championship as well. Just a couple of thoughts there about Arch Manning. Joseph Kennedy, hey man, help me out here. Give me a scoring update, Joseph, for the rest of the night. You are our Dog Nation Before the Hedges, Steg Dogs, basketball hoop dogs correspondent. Randy Hall, I say Georgia every year has a very strong chance of achieving the final number 1 ranked class. Randy, I want to be very honest with you, man. Georgia has reached the point where I think it's more important for them to meet needs and find the guys that fit what they're looking for. Kind of what Kirby Smart said. He's going to take some 3-stars. He's going to take some guys that he think are good character and chemistry fits for his program, and guys that don't really feel like they need a portal if they don't play right away. I think as long as Georgia keeps bringing in guys that are impactful guys, future first-round picks, and they finish somewhere in the top 2 or 3, I think everything is going to be in place for them to win a national championship. Yeah, DGD podcast, man. Hey, thanks for that. Jamal Jarrett. Yeah, I need to come visit Jamal Jarrett pretty soon. Joseph certainly needs some extremely good wide receivers in the class. Eric Ray brings out, Justice Haynes definitely needs to be a dog. Jerry Russell, no, really, if you look at it through history and what I do, your question's a good one, is the fact that Georgia offers so high a number of receivers indicative of a problem in landing those impact players. I think you just got to cast a wide net at receiver. You got to offer those guys. You got to offer those guys far and wide that you think would enhance your room and upgrade that room and the talent of certain guys you're looking for. I think Georgia always likes to try to find a couple of X guys, a couple of slot receiver guys, a couple of guys that can play both. That's kind of what they look for. Randy Hall, Peaches is somewhere right now. I think we gave her a lot of exercise tonight. I don't know where she's at. We had to walk her around the neighborhood. Peaches has been bad lately, guys. Peaches has been kind of bad. She's been, she don't get walked. She gets tempestuous a little bit, kind of like a 5-star receiver that doesn't get the ball. Sony Prescott makes a important distinction. Louisiana plays public and private schools together. There's no different in the playoffs. Let me see YouTube. YouTube, you got to come with it because I think Facebook had one of their best question sessions in quite some time. Danny Blackman, how are you? Richard Dees. I mean, really the most impressive receiver out of the ones that I mentioned is I like the Braylon James kid a lot. I've been watching him a lot over the last week or so. But I also like, I mean, that's the name is Brandon Ennis. I mean, folks, Brandon Ennis is probably Brandon Ennis would be the best receiver Georgia has ever recruited under Kirby Smart. That's as simple as I can say that. Thomas Fansavin, how are you, man? He makes the point that he's loaded. Jordan Bowman makes the point that the five-star quarterback out of Michigan, Dante Moore. See, that's very interesting because, you know, you've got – I think Dylan Lonergan is really good. I think Visna, the young man out of Briarwood Christian in Alabama, is really good. I even like Marcel Reed out of Montgomery Bell in Nashville. Nicole Imavera, that's another name everybody has on their mind about, you know, the young man out of certainly is getting some strong recruiting interest from Tennessee as well. I do know this. I've seen Dylan Lonergan up close, big boy Georgia high school football, and I think he has it. I think he has what it takes to play at a very, very high level. Brian McPhail has a question. Which freshman do I think will start this year like Bowers? Starts a stretch. I think will play a lot and contribute. I think Oscar Delp will be a guy that will play a lot and contribute. Play a lot and contribute. Maybe not play a lot. Branson Robinson. I think Marvin Jones and Michael Williams will get in there. I think Jalen Walker will get in a lot of special teams. I think Malachi Starks will be given every opportunity to be key backup in the secondary. I'm gonna tell you guys, watch for this name. I think Jaheim Singleton has a chance to shock people at corner. I say the same thing about Dalen Everett. Of course, those are two five-star corners, but the difference is those guys come in body types ready to play college football. I think Dalen Everett is very well tested coming out of IMG Academy for the last 2 years. You guys haven't seen the story on DogNation.com. I wrote about him in depth earlier this week. And then also Jaheim Singletary. I think Jaheim Singletary is a guy that has incredible natural cornerback skills. He has the size. He has the length. And then also Julian Humphrey. Folks will probably sleeping a little bit on Julian Humphrey. But Julian Humphrey is about 6'1". He's about 187, 190 pounds. Got all the speed in the world. I think he would be a great fit for what Georgia wants to do at the slot corner position or the star. He's a guy that can come in and win a lot of matchups right away in the SEC, or at least be able to hang. He's going to be big. He's going to be physical. He's going to come up and tackle, but he is going to have incredible speed, like 10.3, 10.4 in the 100 type speed. Blazing fast, Julian Humphrey. Those are the names, but to make sure I answer your question, Brian McPhail, I got you. The freshman that's going to start is going to be the Thunder from down under, Brett the Mighty Thorson. That's the punter. That job's wide open for him. And, folks, I wouldn't be surprised if he looks every bit as good as Jake Cromartie does, probably halfway through his freshman season at Georgia. He's already the same age. I mean, you guys, if you were following that story, I think it was a great story when he committed to Georgia. I believe it was last April or May. And, folks, when punters come to Georgia, punters out of Australia is like swipe right. I mean, it's none of that. It's a matching service where punters at Georgia, punters from Australia, what they do is Pro Kick Australia, a guy by the name of Nathan Chapman. What he does is he matches punters to schools. And there's no recruiting. There's like, hey, it's almost like in medieval times when they arrange marriages and you're like the Duke of Windsor and the Duchess of York. That's kind of what it is. Georgia was a All-American program, top 5 program. And what they did is when they matched one of their very best punters they've had in some time with the University of Georgia. Because one of the things Chapman told me is he said, it's a pretty cool story, is he said, we want our Pro Kick Australia punter to come in and for there to be no drop off from the great. And he was very impressed with Jake Camarda. And he said, we don't want people to come in and see the punter from Australia and think that he is not up to the quality that Georgia has for the last 4 years. So that's why they sent Brett Thorson, 22 years old, I believe right now, Brett Thorson to Athens because they wanted a punter that could come in and punt immediately at the level that Jake Camarda was at Georgia. And the thought of having a punter like that for another 4 years that will probably be 24, 25, 26 years old by the time he leaves Georgia, certainly a great prospect. And if you guys watch the Ray Guy Awards every year, most of the watch list, most of the eventual winners, that event and that award has been dominated by Australian-born punters over the last 8 or 9 years. Danny Blackman has a question. I do think Big Bear will get a lot of real playing time. I think he is going to be hard to keep him off the field, mentally, physically, everything he brings to the table. Brian McPhail, I think Georgia has a great shot at Caleb Downs. DSA1, Denialin and Lassiter. Lassiter signed in the 2021 class. To Marco Thomas. Overton will probably commit sometime in April or May. Vincent White, talking about 2 running backs for the class. I think any two of the 4, probably between Trayon Webb, Richard Young, Reuben Owens, and Justice Haynes. I think that would be ideal. I think Georgia has to add Justice Haynes in this class for so many reasons, because I think Justin is just grade A good. Besides being a legacy, his work ethic, he'd be a great guy that would just be a great worker. Besides his ability to be durable and endure a lot of carries so far in high school football, I think he brings an ability to catch the football. I think he brings kind of next level training and everything else like that. Guys, it has been a great Before the Hedges. How'd you guys feel about the show? What was your favorite part? Did you like the Marvin Jones interview? Did you like the Reuben Owens, the second interview? I thought it was pretty funny when I got Marvin Jones to give me a really original thought about Julian Humphrey, and he called him a clown, a COLNWN clown. That's the guy. I don't know if you saw my videos that I tweeted out on social media from the All-American Bowl in Texas. But Julian Humphrey was a guy that, I mean, he couldn't go 35 seconds, 45 seconds without dancing, without moving around, without showing a lot of juice. That's just how hyped up and kind of a live wire he is. Brilliant 2022 class. We'll have some more interviews with some of those signees coming up in the coming days. But as always, I want to thank you guys for hanging out on another Before the Hedges. That's been your intel. I'm Jeff Sintel. Everybody out there, be well and have yourself a great rest of the week. And thanks to Kroger. Thanks to everybody for joining us for another Wednesday night of Before the Hedges. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you again real soon on the pages of DogNation.com.